Welcome to The Explainer. We've all heard about people who live past 100, but what if the real secret isn't just about tacking on more years, but about adding more life to those years? Well, today, we're going to dig into the genetics of the people who do just that, who don't just live long, but live really well, deep into their second century.
Okay, so look at this number, 106.6. Now that's not just some random statistic. It's actually the average age of a super elite group of people, a tiny, tiny fraction of us who've somehow, cracked the code to extreme longevity.
And that brings up a huge question, one that stumped scientists for a long, long time, right? How did these folks manage to defy the odds? They're not just getting old, they're putting off or even dodging the big diseases that come with aging. Well, a recent study over in Italy tried to finally crack this code by looking for the answers right in their DNA. All right, let's get into the study itself. So our story starts in Italy, where this team of scientists launched a pretty fascinating investigation. Their whole goal? To find the exact genetic signature that makes these people so incredibly resilient. So here's how they did it. They compared the genetics of two different groups. In one corner, you've got 81 people who are 105 years old or even older. And in the other corner, you have a control group, 36 younger, but still super healthy people, with an average age of 68. And here's the really smart part. Everyone came from the exact same region in Italy. That's huge, because it helps take things like lifestyle and environment out of the equation. Now, the tool they use for this, it's just incredible. It's called whole genome sequencing. The best way to think about it is like this. If your DNA is the complete instruction manual for your body, these scientists basically read the entire book, from the first page to the last, for every single person in the study. Every single letter.
Okay, so they compared the genetic blueprints of the super old with the, just regular healthy folks. So what did they find? What were the big differences hiding in their DNA?
So what was it? Did they find some single magical fountain of youth gene that they all shared? Well, the answer turned out to be way more subtle, and honestly, a lot more interesting than that. It wasn't about one secret ingredient, but something way more fundamental about how their bodies handle the basic wear and tear of just being alive. So to really get their big discovery, we need to talk about something called somatic mutations. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Just think of them as tiny typos. See, every single time your cells divide, there's a little chance of an error, a small typo getting written into your DNA. And over a whole lifetime, you can imagine, those little typos really start to add up. And this slide right here shows what was maybe the most shocking finding of the whole study. You'd think, right, that after more than 100 years of living, the 105+ group would just be loaded with these genetic typos. But as you can see, the exact opposite was true. Their mutation load was way, way lower than the much younger control group. How crazy is that? And this really just drives the point home. The researchers themselves put it this way, saying these folks had a lower mutation load. What that means, in plain English, is that even after a century of life, their genetic instruction books were just cleaner, much more stable than people who were decades younger. Okay, so this discovery, of course, leads to the next huge question. Why? How is that possible? Did they just have stronger DNA? Was it made of some kind of tougher stuff? And the answer was nope. It's not that their DNA was damage-proof. It was that their bodies were just exceptionally, unbelievably good at fixing it. Think of it like they had an elite 5-star biological maintenance crew on call 24/7. So this slide really breaks down that whole mind-blowing process. Okay, step 1, just living our lives day in and day out causes little bits of damage to our DNA. It just happens. Step 2, we all have a genetic repair crew that's supposed to fix these errors. But, and this is the game changer, look at step 3. In the 105+ group, that repair crew is just uniquely, ridiculously efficient. And that all leads to step 4, a much more stable genome, which in turn leads to healthier aging and, you guessed it, a longer life. All right, so let's zoom out. What does all of this actually mean for the future of healthy aging? Because this isn't just some cool, weird fact about a handful of people. No, this really opens up a whole new way of thinking, with some pretty profound implications for every single one of us.
Okay, so this research really gives us a whole new blueprint for what healthy aging looks like. Let's just walk through the big takeaways here. First, it's clear now there's a direct link between staying healthy as you age and keeping your genes in good shape. Second, the main way to do that is with an efficient DNA repair system. That system acts like a shield, protecting against all sorts of age-related diseases, which is why, third, we see them having fewer heart problems. And finally, and this is so important, this wasn't just a lucky find in a small group. They checked it again in a bigger group of over 300 centenarians and found the same thing. That gives this discovery some serious weight.
And really, this is the so what of it all. This is the big takeaway. It totally shifts our focus. It suggests that, if we want to come up with new ways to help people live longer, healthier lives, maybe we shouldn't just be targeting one disease at a time. Maybe we should be targeting the root cause, the DNA repair system itself.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating thought for the future, doesn't it? If having this elite built-in repair system is the secret to a long and healthy life, well, could science one day figure out how to give everyone that upgrade? I mean, the answer to that question could completely change what it means to grow old.